How does one truly know that one has established a refuge in the Buddha? Is this done by seeing our remaining defilements and working on them accordingly? I was thinking of the story about Tuchapotila, where he came to realize that he had no refuge and afterwards he became enlightened. Should we see our remaining defilements and the lessening of these as our refuge? Thanks. No, the true taking of refuge is the attainment of Sotapanna. A person who attains Sotapanna is said to have true refuge, because at that point they have full confidence in the Buddha and his teachings, and those who practice his teachings. They know that the Buddha was enlightened, in the sense that the Buddha, I talked about this yesterday in the study group, how they know that the Buddha was enlightened, because they have realized that what the Buddha said was true. They've realized Nibbana, so they can verify, yes, the Buddha was talking about something that I've actually realized. That realization is the most profound realization possible. It's cessation of suffering. Therefore, they see either the Buddha got it from somewhere or he was enlightened himself. Could be that he had a tape recorder or he had something in his ear and he was being fed it. But barring that, he was enlightened and knew what he was talking about. Because only an enlightened being would be able to explain such a thing. You have full confidence in the Dhamma because you have experienced it for yourself. You know that it truly is the cessation of suffering. And you have full confidence in the Sangha, because you know that if you hear of someone practicing in this way, you know that they are leading themselves closer to Nibbana. If you know that if you hear that someone has attained Nibbana, then you know that they are enlightened, because you know that the attainment of Nibbana leads to enlightenment. For example, this comes at Sotapanna. To really say you've taken refuge is to reach that level. Apart from that, the idea of taking refuge in a conventional sense just means that you accept the Buddha as your guide, and of course it's still provisional because you don't know whether the Buddha was correct or not, and you may pretend that you're Buddhist and that you've taken the Buddha as your refuge, but it's still only provisional, and you might still, as many Buddhists do many things that are contrary to the Buddha's teaching. So you can't really be said to have taken refuge, but except in the conventional sense, where you claim that the Buddha is your guide and you intend to practice according to his teachings, and you therefore take his followers as your teachers, or you accept that a person who practices in this way is practicing in the right way. It's all provisional, but it's done in a conventional sense. But that's just a determination that you make on your own, that you want to practice according to the Buddha's teaching. And that's what all meditators do, really. You may not do this chanting that we do, but by undertaking the Buddha's teaching, you're taking refuge, in the sense that I just said. You're accepting that the Buddha has something good to teach, at least provisionally, and you're practicing it, putting it into practice, hopefully wholeheartedly. That's what it means, as I understand, to take refuge.